Good morning, and how are you? Good afternoon and good evening if you're watching this late at night. I totally understand. Used to be that person. Um, I finally slept last night, which is the first time in about a week. And I did not wake up at 4 o'clock, which is great. And I woke up at 2 and went right back to sleep, which is great. So I want to welcome you. I just realized I did not plug in my microphone. Give me a second and see if this sounds better. I hope. Okay. So today I am going to talk about, welcome to the masterclass, first of all. And I'm so excited that you're here because this is a subject I feel super duper passionate about. And I think that for a very long time, I first found out about law of attraction type stuff in about 2009, 2010. And I started really diving into that world. And I honestly have to say that I manifested a whole lot of really cool things into my life. And prior to that, I had, without even realizing that that was what I was doing, I manifested about $12,000 to pay off a massive amount of debt. And I manifested my husband and our son, and like all of these things happened. Like I feel like I definitely manifested those things, but then like life got in the way and things got crazy, and I stopped manifesting and I stopped believing and feeling like that law of attraction stuff was real. And then I realized how silly that was. And I started realizing that you have to be really specific about how you're asking for things. You have to be really, really engaged in the process of believing. And if you're using words that you don't, to your core, believe in and to your core feel are accurate and true, you're going to run into problems. Okay, so if you've ever had trouble manifesting, that's why. It's because you were not easing yourself into the process, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. I keep looking over because I have a timer going. And I don't want it to beep in your ear. So we're going to kind of dive really deep into how to manifest, how to use affirmations to change your mindset. We're going to talk about how your words are incredibly important, and the ways that you use them are incredibly important. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, so here's the thing. Your words, if I were to say to you, I have a couple of sayings written all over my wall. So, and you'll see one here. It says, there is always enough. Now, to me, that is true. That is, I believe that to my core. And one of the things that I do is every time I pay a bill, I write on the bill that I paid it and what date I paid it. And then I wrote right next to it, thank you, universe, there is always enough. And what that to me does, for me personally, it reminds me that there's always enough to pay the bills. There's always enough, right? Now, if I had tried to say that there is always abundance and that there is always more than enough, that's where I would get into trouble because I don't believe that to my core. So I had a saying over here just a few minutes ago, and I realized I needed to delete it. It said, I am no longer in debt. Now, for someone who is no longer in debt, or very close to being out of debt, that would make sense and that would feel good. But for me, because I'm not there, when I read that a couple of minutes ago, sorry, when I read that a couple of minutes ago, my brain automatically went, no, you're not. That's not you. You can't be that. So our internal dialogue is going to kick in. And the problem with it kicking in at the wrong time is that it can actually make you feel worse. And so I deleted that because it's not that I'm no longer in debt. I'm in debt up to my eyeballs. I have over $1,000 in medical debt. I have about $40,000, $30,000 to $40,000 in school loan debt. So I'm nowhere near being out of debt. And I have a couple of other random little debts here and there. I'm not there yet. So for me to say that I am no longer in debt is a problem. What I can say instead is I am the type of, I have it written down, sorry, I'm going to write it up here. I am the type of person who can, emphasis on the can, get out of debt. I am the type of person who can physically, emotionally, and mentally get out of debt. And that I believe to my core. I believe that I will eventually get out of debt. I believe that I can, and I have the capabilities to make enough money to get out of debt, even if I am not there right now. But if I say I am out of debt, my internal dialogue goes, no, you're not. You're up to your eyeballs in debt. Have you lost your mind? Who do you think you are thinking that you can do this in a year? I probably could if I worked really, really stinking hard and I made a really good choices with my money, get out of debt in a couple of years. But the chances of me doing it in a year or even just a couple of months or a couple of weeks is pretty intense, right? That would be a lot of things going really, really well. And mentally and emotionally, I'm not there yet. So if I say I am the type of person who can get out of debt, I can believe that to my core. I can believe that I am the type of person who can get out of debt. And then once you shift from that, once you believe that to your core, once you're solid in that, then you start working toward, I am the type of person who will get out of debt. I am the type of person who will do this or that. And this could be about money, it could be about anything. So I am the type of person who can do this. And then you're going to grow and shift and journal and do all of the things that you need to do in order to say, I am the type of person who will do that thing, right? And so it's a slow progression. So starting with a hard line of, if I didn't believe this, I could start with, I am the type of person who can see abundance in the world. I am the type of person who can see abundance in the world. I am the type of person who can see that there is always enough. Because when we start to focus on something, we start to notice it. So if you're focusing on death, destruction, disease, and poverty and lack, then you're going to notice it more. But if you start to say there is always enough love, let's say, you start to see little bits and pieces and parts of the world that come together to create abundance and love and whatever it is you're trying to see. You're going to notice those things, because sometimes it's just about noticing something in order to believe that it's possible. You have to be able to see it sometimes and believe in it. Then you can go, okay, that is something that I can believe in. That is something that I can see happening. You are a living, breathing person, and you are a living, breathing, growing human. Why are affirmations any different? This was something that it took me a really long time to understand. If I am mentally growing and changing and shifting all the time, why, and my mindset is growing and shifting and changing all of the time, why are my mindset, or I'm sorry, why are my affirmations also not growing and shifting and changing also? And why can't I grow into believing that I am out of debt? Why can't I grow into believing that things are possible for me that I have not experienced, and things that I have not seen done by people that I speak to on a regular basis? Okay, why can't I grow and change and shift and up level slowly? Because I think what happens, at least for me, what has happened in the past, is that I always believed that I had to go 0 to 60 or 0 to 110 super fast. Like I had to immediately be there. I had to immediately believe that I was capable of making $1 million, let's say, or even 100,000. Let's just go with 100,000, because that makes a lot more sense. And really, to make $100,000 in a year and work $100,000, let's do the math, divided by 12 months. We're going to do different math, because that just gets a little convoluted. 10,000 times 12 is 120,000. Okay, so I want to make $120,000, right? That's $10,000 a month. And in my brain, I'm going, it's exploding right there, right? Exploding, going, oh my God, what would I possibly do with 10 grand in a month? Like, that's how much my car costs. Slightly less than my car cost, right? And so that kind of mentality, you have to work up to it, right? You don't have to believe that, you don't have to embody this in a brief time period. I have it written up there because it makes me really uncomfortable. And if I'm really uncomfortable, I'm growing, right? And I'm pushing myself into believing that this is possible, because it's really not that much money. It is a lot of money for a business to make, but it's really not at the same time, if that makes sense. If you have employees and things like that, I'm not netting $100,000. I just want my business to make $100,000 so that we can help people. And we can, I say we, like I have people working with me, but at the point where I'm making $100,000 in my business, it would be a we, right? And so I'm growing into this concept that this is possible. And when those limiting beliefs come up for me, when I look at $100,000, and I can combat them, right? I can come at this from a different approach. And so growing and I'm shifting, and I'm saying this is not a ton of money for a business to make, and it's okay. It can become comfortable, and I can grow into that amount of money, right? And I know that that amount of money is possible. I see that that amount of money is totally possible throughout the world. And I've put this up here so that I can start to notice when these things are happening. around me. I can look for them, right? And that's the key, is get yourself to a place where you can look for the possibilities around you. And sometimes it may mean putting I'm out of debt, or I know people who are out of debt, right? And so then you start to find people and notice people who are out of debt. I am out of debt, therefore I know people who are out of debt. You start that process and you start looking for those people and you start searching for those people. You want to find those people and find out how they did it, what they're doing, and connect with that kind of energy. That's what affirmations do. They help you connect with a certain level of energy. Okay. One of my big goals for 2020, and really just my life in general, is to be able to get to the point where I put my bills on auto pay and I'm not stressed out about that. Okay. So at this point, I am working on an affirmation. And here is I could say right now that I'm the type of person, or I'm sorry, I pay my bills on time every month, but that's not the case. I'm often having to do payment arrangements. I'm often having to be on a budget, as far as like our electricity and our gas bill, because when in the summertime our electric bill goes way high, and in the summertime, or I'm sorry, in the wintertime our gas bill goes way high. And so that's something that I am working on, is not necessarily getting to the point. My goal is to get to the point where I put everything on auto pay and I'm not stressed out about that at all. Okay. But I can't say right now that I pay my bills on time every month and in full. I can't say that. What I can say though is that I am the type of person who can pay her bills on time. I'm the type of person who can pay off my debt. I'm the type of person who can be somewhere on time, right? And I've worked really hard at not being late places, and I'm doing way better at that. I'm the type of person who can afford to pamper myself with a massage, a facial, whatever. I'm the type of person who can go rent a hotel room for a weekend and just be there in the silence and go to the spa. I'm the type of person who can do these things, right? And so I'm always working toward being that actual person. And then, so what's the transition? Let's take I'm the type of person who can rent a hotel room for a whole weekend and have like a mom's retreat kind of deal. So I'm not there yet. So what would that look like if I'm building toward that? Right now, I am the type of person who can, right? So then what does that look like? The first step to that is maybe getting a massage that I pay for out of my pocket. That doesn't take away from the bills, doesn't mean I have to budget food. So then I get to the point where I have an extra $35 that I earned, not because of taxes, not because of random things or Christmas money or something like that. But this is money I earned with my job, right? With my work. And now I'm going to go spend it on a massage. Yay. Yay. And see, the thing is that I don't need to I can go to a massage school and pay $20. And $20 is nothing, right? $20 is nothing. But I can go to a massage school and pay $20 and get a full body massage because they are still learning. Will it be the best massage that I've ever had? I don't know. Possibly. Quite possibly, honestly. But this is a step in the right direction. Do you see what I'm saying? Finding the possibilities and finding the ways to do it. You can go to the dentist and go to a school and get your what's normally a $200 thing cleaning somewhere else for a lot cheaper. So it's finding the pathways to believe that these things are possible for you, right? If you were to go to a beauty school and get a facial, you're getting yourself in the mindset of somebody who does this on a regular basis, right? It's the mindset of somebody who does this on a regular basis, these things that you want to do. So if I were to want, which I do, to have someone clean my house either weekly or bi-weekly, right, every other week, I could start with just once a month. Once a month, I have somebody come in here, I spend $100 and they clean my whole house. It would take a lot less than $100 worth of time. But I'm the type of person who has someone come and clean my house once a month. See where that transitions? And then it's baby steps. It's always just baby steps to get you to where you want to go. And expanding your mind into the realm of possibilities. The realm of possibilities. That's what we're really talking about. Okay? So I want you to take a couple of minutes right now, and I want you to write down 2 things. Let's start with 2. I want you to write down 2, like, make them hard. Make them hard, like I pay my bills on time, or something that you're not currently doing, right? Or I'm out of debt, or I have someone clean my house. I want you to make something that's not true for yourself right now. And I want you to come up with 2 of them. So I'll wait for just a minute. I'm gonna have some coffee. Okay, now that you've got those 2 things written down, and your whole body is totally uncomfortable, or it could be like, I make $1 million or something like that, right? Now that you've got those 2 things written down, what I want you to do is draw a line under those 2 things. And we're going to space these out. I want you to space the next section out. So you have one thing up here and one thing here. And I want you to let your brain go on one of those things. And I want you to think about all the horrible things that came up for you in thinking about that thing. What kind of terrible, terrible things came to your head? Like, you're a horrible person. Like, when I say I'm out of debt, my brain goes, no, you're not. No, you're never going to get out of debt. You're going to be in debt until you're dead. I mean, it's like, it's horrible, right? It's not that bad anymore. I've kind of learned to stop those things. But I want you to write down a couple of things that your brain went automatically to. And I'm sorry if this is emotional. This is a hard thing to work through. So give yourself some grace. Because you're not going to be like this all the time. You're not going to be like this forever, right? Okay, now that you have a couple of those awful things below that, I want you to tell me why that's not true. Tell me why are you not a piece of shit? Okay, tell me why you're not talk to me about what is true. about you. I'm not a piece of shit because I'm a great mom. I'm not a piece of shit because I'm a great wife. I'm not a piece of shit because I do a lot of things for my community, or I'm not a piece of shit because I'm just not. That's not who I am. I'm a good person, right? And I want you to tell me also what is true about this particular situation. This is where I am capable of getting out of debt. I will get out of debt. I am the type of person who is worth getting out of debt. I am worthy of getting out of debt. I am worthy of having a good life. I am worthy of life, period. I'm worthy of being alive. Which, P.S., in case you don't believe that, you are worth being alive simply because you already are. Your life is worth having because you were born. You are worthy of having a good life simply because out of, I don't know what the statistics are, but it's something crazy, like 1 in a million. It literally is more than a million. But the chances of you being born is so freaking small. So the fact that you were born makes it just automatic that you're worthy of life because you were born, right? And so maybe that's what you need to write down and believe into your core. And that's where you need to start, is just, I am worthy of being alive. Yeah. And repeating that to yourself, repeating that to yourself every single day. And trust me when I say I know where you're at, because I was here. I was there. And I have been suicidal and thinking and believing that I did not deserve to exist and that the world would be better off without me. And I'm telling you right now that is not the case. You deserve to be alive simply because you were born. And you deserve to have a good life. You are worthy of having a good life. Now, what is that entails, what a good life means to you, is none of my business. Unless you want to share it with me, I would love to hear it. But that's none of my business, right? What success means to you is none of my business. What success means to you is none of my business. And I think that that is the biggest problem that we have in our society right now, is that we believe that in order to truly be successful, it needs to be validated by somebody else. And that's not the case. Because for you, success might simply be being a great mom. Like, everything else can go to shit, but I am a great mom and I provide for my family, and we may shop at Walmart, but that's totally fine with me because they are fed, they're loved, and we do great things together. That's okay. Success could mean that you made $5 million and you've taken worldwide vacations and you've done all of the things and you've had all of the experiences. And there's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing greedy about that. There's nothing terrible about that. It's just okay. Because that's what you deem success as. And that's okay. It's okay. So now what I want you to do is, below all of that, I want you to write the thing that you are, man, that sun got bright. These papers, very bright. Okay. Ooh. Things are shining all over my desk. Okay, here we go. Too many things on my desk. I'm going to take these off too, because that's bugging me. You have got to come up with something that you truly, to your core, believe in. I'm going to go fix that because it's distracting me. Hang on 2 seconds. Woo, that's so much better. Okay. The sun shifted on me while I was in the middle of this, and I was like, oh God. So you've got to come up with something that you absolutely can believe in to your core and start somewhere. If you don't feel like, I'm going to say that I am the type of person who can be worthy, is you just, no. Right, if you are at that place in your life, you just need to write down, I am worthy. And when the voice inside your head comes and tries to tell you that you are not worthy of living and you are not worthy of life and you are not this, that, or the third, I'm going to tell you a little trick that I learned that got me started on this whole path of healing. When that voice would come up, I would imagine a gigantic hand and then a stop sign right next to it. Boop. Stop. So you're going to tell yourself, stop. We don't do this to ourselves anymore. We don't do this. Sorry, I get a little emotional when I start thinking about these things. We don't do this to ourselves anymore. I'm going to tell you something I tell my son all the time. The world will beat you up. The world outside your home, outside your body, has a lot of bad people who would try to tear you down and destroy you. The last thing you need to do is do it to yourself. You've got to believe in yourself. So I'm going to say this to you right now. The world outside is wonderful. There's a lot of wonderful and great things out there, but there are also a lot of bad things. A lot of people who will try to make you feel like shit about being you. Don't you do that to yourself. Okay? So you're going to put that stop sign up and you're going to put that hand up and you say, no, stop. And visualize this in your head. And if you're at home alone, you can actually physically say, no, stop. Okay? And then for every negative thought that came up, or pick 3 that are really like sticking in your head, right? That voice in your head, just keep hammering that one thing home. You're going to pick that one thing and you're going to write down all the reasons that that's not true. So if you got that you're too fat, you're too ugly, you've got scars all over your face, nobody loves you, blah, 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 blah. That's where you're going to come up with all of this. Stop. I have beautiful eyes. They're really pretty. I have beautiful eyes. I have wonderful curves. I have this. I have that. Find, for every one thing that's wrong, you find 3 things that are awesome. And I'm telling you, you do this enough and slowly enough, and every day and every single time in your head or on paper. You do this enough and you will combat those thoughts and you will start to believe that you have beautiful eyes. This is something that I can believe to my core because it's right there. I can see it. And you'll start to notice your eyes more than your scars. You'll start to notice your curves in a really sexy way, as opposed to, man, I got big old hips. You start to believe these things about yourself. And at that point, everything changes. Everything changes. But this is where the affirmations come in. right? You've got to start with things that you can believe and believe to your core about yourself. I hope these exercises were really, really good. I hope that they were intense. I hope that they will be something that you can come back to and practice over and over and over again, because I'm telling you, and here's the other thing that I'm just going to say right now. There is a quote, and I'll look it up while I'm recording. There's a quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. It's Margaret Thatcher. That's it. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. It's Margaret Thatcher. And it is one of the most important quotes that I have ever read in my entire life for myself, because that was me. I kept having to come up against this, you're too ugly, nobody wants to watch you on video. And I had to fight that battle repeatedly. And some days I'm still not there. But I will tell you that the concept and the thoughts and the feelings that I have around that are much less than they used to be. Much less. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing. That's a thing I love. So, you may have to fight a battle more than once, but you know what? You can be victorious. I believe in you. I believe that you can be victorious. And I really, really genuinely hope that this helped. I love you. I would love to support you. If you have any questions or you need any support after this, you need any help getting to the next step in your mindset journey, in your affirmation journey, I'm here to help you with that. I'm going to hop off of here, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. If you would like to work together, please reach out to me. I'm not going to pitch you during this masterclass. I don't want to be that person, but I would love to support you. I would love to help you get clarity on yourself and how you function and how you are going to function in the future. And I would love to help you with that. So feel free to reach out and let's do this together. Okay. Have a good day. I'll talk to you all later. See ya. Bye.